My name is Lynette, and I'm a real alcoholic. My sobriety date is May 5th, 1999. I haven't found it necessary from that day to this day to pick up any mind-altering substances. That's nights, weekends, holidays, bar mitzvahs, gender reveals. I do not drink, and I'm not on weed maintenance. And I need to say that because I used to come in here high and tell y'all I was sober, and I wasn't. I got a sponsor, and her name is Erica, and she knows she sponsors me, and she has a working knowledge of the 12 steps, and my sponsor has a sponsor, and her name is Bonnie, and she also has a working knowledge of the 12 steps, and my sponsor taught me how to incorporate those 12 steps in my life. And if you got a sponsor that's not taking you through the 12 steps, get rid of them. And go get a sponsor who has a working knowledge of the 12 steps, and then go back and get that sponsor that you got rid of and take them to the sponsor who has a working knowledge of the 12 steps. Because that's what we're selling you on. The 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, the big book, and the 12 and 12. I'm going to tell y'all two stories that happened to me that I believe set off a chain of events of emotions. I was an alcoholic way before I picked up alcohol. I never liked me. My skin was too dark, my hair was short, and my butt was flat, and I was skinny. Things have changed. My mother left me and my brother in an abandoned shack in Buffalo, New York on 41 Kerr Street in the middle of winter, where they measure snow by the feet. And I always tell people down in Akron, be grateful for those inches y'all get down there. And my brother was going down to the store to steal bologna to feed his 5-year-old little sister. And there wasn't no gas and no lights in that house. And the man at the store was wondering why this kid keep coming down here stealing food, so he called the police. And the police followed my brother back to that shack, and they found this little girl on a mattress covered in sheets, towels, curtains, and clothes. Everything this kid could find in this house, he had piled on top of his 5-year-old little sister. I tell the story like that because that's how they had it written up in the paper. They called us miracle babies. We was in that house for 3 nights and 4 days, and they said we shouldn't have survived that. There is a God. The second thing happened to me when I was a kid. Me and my cousin decided to go bottle hustling. And before we left my grandmother's house, she said, don't go in nobody's house. And I didn't like my grandmother. I thought she was mean. I wanted a grandmother who rocked in a rocking chair and baked me cookies. That's not the grandmother I got. Me and my cousin set out to go bottle hustling. We got to this man's house, and he had a room full of bottles. And he told us if we came in that house and cleaned out that room, he'd give us those bottles. And we went in his house. And that man raped me. I was 9 years old. He sent my cousin to the store, and on their way back, I told her, throw her stuff on the porch and run. And we took off running, and she kept saying, Natty, what's wrong? I said, keep running. We got halfway home, and I told her what the man did. I said, don't tell Grandma, because she told us don't go in nobody's house. We got home. Treva ran up the steps, and she ran in the kitchen, and my grandmother was sitting around a round table drinking Budweiser beer, smoking cigarettes with her friends from out of town. And she said, Grandma, some man raped Natty. And my grandmother looked at me and said, ain't nobody raped that ugly bitch. I was 9 years old. I never felt pretty again. From that day forward, I never felt pretty again. One day, my aunt was standing in the living room, and she was drinking something out of her cup, and I ran up to her, and I said, Auntie, can I have a sip of what's in your cup? She handed me that cup, and I took a gulp of what was in that cup, and it burnt my tongue, it burnt going down my throat, but when it hit the bottom of my belly, I opened my eyes, my skin lightened up, my hair grew long, my butt got big, and I could sing like Whitney Houston. And let's be clear, I cannot sing. But when I would put alcohol on my tongue, I thought I sounded like Whitney Houston. That was the first love of my life. My auntie also told me that if a man don't beat you, he don't love you. Every relationship I ever been in, there been in domestic violence. Even the ones that I was in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because when you only know one way to tie your shoe, that's the only way you tie your shoe. And I'm a real alcoholic. When I take a sip of alcohol, I lose my self-respect, my dignity, my morals, my values, my self-esteem, my self-worth. All that go out the window. And I will do anything, and I do mean anything, in the name of get one more. That's the kind of alcoholic I am. I'm the kind of alcoholic you'll see walking down the streets trying to sell the microwave for $20. I'm the kind of alcoholic that show up at your door with the TV and try to sell you my TV for $20. I'm the kind of alcoholic you don't want to let in your house. I'll steal your wallet and help you look for it. Well, when the last time you seen it? Well, let's keep looking for it, knowing the whole time I got your wallet. I'm the kind of alcoholic that when the man would hand me my check, I take my check to the liquor store. I don't know nothing about no banks. I get a fifth of 151, 3 lighters, and 2 packs of Newport 100s. I did that every single pay. That's the kind of alcoholic I am. And then I end up in somebody's basement, broke, busted, and disgusted. And my fine-tuned mind tell me to get out there and sell fruit cocktail to get that money back. And I'm not talking about the stuff in a can. That's who I am when I take a sip of alcohol. I realized today that I was full-blown alcoholic at the age of 18. My mother and Reverend Stone tried to put me in a treatment center. At 18, I was a full-blown alcoholic. I had a drinking problem then. It took me years to get back to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I met the second love of my life. His name was James Black. He bought me some Champion tennis shoes. Yes. That's for the old people, because we know Champion tennis shoes was like Nikes back in the day. Dude rode in on a pretty white horse. He gave me them tennis shoes. I put them tennis shoes on and hopped on dude's horse. Dude took me all the way down to Orange, Texas. At the end of that relationship, he was tying me to poles because he loved me so much. I'm in full flight from reality. The doctor's opinion describes me to a T. Maladjusted to life, can't differentiate the truth from the false. And everybody was trying to tell me, girl, you better get rid of him. He's trying to kill you. One day he tied me to the pole. I was screaming. Somebody heard me. They called the fire department. They kicked the door in, got me off the pole, and I called my mother. And I said, Ma, if you don't get me a ticket home, he's going to kill me. She said, I ain't tell you to take your black A down here. You get up here the best way you know how. I did what my mother said. I got back up to Ohio. I had a friend that was staying up in Akron, and she told me to come and stay with her. She'll help me get on my feet. Now, she knew the girl that she graduated with. She didn't know this full-blown alcoholic. I get up to her house, and she got this cute husband, these 4 kids, and this cute dog, and this little picket fence. And when I got done with them, the fence was knocked down, the dog ran away, and the kids was screaming, Mommy, she the devil, she the devil. Because everywhere I went, I took me with me. There is a God. As time went on, of course, they put me out. Somebody told me to go up on Market Street. There was a shelter up there. I went up on Market Street, tried to get in the shelter, but they wouldn't let me in because I refused to pray. I didn't want to go to their classes to pray. My daddy told me that God was white, and white people don't like black people, and we don't pray to that God in this house. So I had prejudices against God when I got here. Anyway, I slept outside. There's a little doorway facing East Market. There's a little doorway. You can't go in and out that door, but I slept in there that night. And I could see a man down the street in a box on the church lawn with his dog. And I'm saying if I get that bad, we always got something to compare ourselves with. We were that bad. I just want you to know, if you're in here, you are an alcoholic. Normal people do not show up to Alcoholics Anonymous saying, I just want to see what they doing in there. I just want to know why all these people are gathered together. If you in here, you probably got a problem with alcohol. As time went on, I got into the Haven Arrest, and somebody got me an apartment, And I'm hemmed up in this apartment with a preacher. And I hear the preacher say, God got a plan for your life. And I said, can you take me somewhere to get help? And he took me up on Howard Street. It's a detox center. They said I was in there 5 days. I only remember being in there one day. They sent me out to this place called IBH. It's a treatment center. I don't like treatment centers. It's a bunch of women in there, and they all trying to steal my man, and I don't even have a man. And I don't want to be here. And I'm looking really, really bad. My hair is so short you could roll it with rice. I'm weighing 100 pounds soaking wet. My pants is rolled up on my body. I'm trying to keep my pants up. And if you look down at my feet, you'll see my big toe. My shoes had holes in them. But I'm not an alcoholic. I go in there, and I'm in there for 39 days of sobriety. I'm sponsoring all the girls out at IBH. Somebody put a perm in my hair. It grew a couple of inches. They fed me 3 meals a day. They told me what I had was rehab flab. They said it would go away. They lied. I'm still carrying it. And they gave me some clothes out the clothier, and I left IBH. And they kept saying, don't leave before the miracle happens. Let us love you till you can love yourself. And all I knew was I didn't want to be there. And I left there and went home. And in the midst of my disease, see, I got a disease, y'all, and it's centered in my mind. And my disease sometimes will get louder than my voice. And it'll tell me stuff that's not true. And I heard y'all say go to meetings. And I went to meetings. And I seen men in meetings. And I heard y'all say, may you find him now. I thought they was talking about a man in a meeting. So I was running around here trying to find me a man to get this spiritual awakening. I got that spiritual awakening. I found that man, but it's not the spiritual awakening they're talking about in the big book. If you in here and you knew and you think that a man will fix you, he will not. If you in here and you think a woman will fix you, she will not. If you in here and you looking at us and you say, if I get that right car, I get the right house, I get those kids back, I'll be okay. That's a lie. It's all collateral, and you will sell it as soon as you go back out there. And you will go back out there. And I hear old-timers telling newcomers, meeting makers make it. That's a lie. Meeting makers make it to meetings. And you definitely need to go to meetings, but meetings alone will not give you sobriety. In the 12 and 12 on the page 39, it says it will not work. You better connect to a God. You better connect to a sponsor. You better get a big book. And I ain't telling you suggest. You better get a big book, and you better work these 12 steps if you want sobriety. If you want to keep that raggedy life you got and be mean and continue to get fired off your job and be a dirtbag, a liar, a cheat, and a thief, don't work the steps. But if you want those behaviors to change, I promise you, I put my life on it. Work a step. Work a step. I went to meetings and I heard a lady behind the podium. Her name was Joe Randall. She said, if you don't have a higher power, you could borrow mine. And I went home praying to her higher power, please send me a man. Her higher power was taking too long, so I went down to the Salvation Army. I got me a man. Dude wouldn't stay sober. I tried to beat him sober. Police came. He went to jail. Because remember, my auntie said, if a man don't beat you, he don't love you. I want to show them how much I love them too. I went back to her higher power. I said, send me a man with a car and a job. Her higher power was taking too long. I went back down to the Salvation Army. You can't make this up. I found me a man in there with a car and a job. Dude wouldn't stay sober. I tried to beat him sober. Police came. He went to jail. I decided that maybe I should get my own higher power. Higher power, if you be real, send me somebody to love. And that higher power sent me 4 kids. My girlfriend went to the penitentiary, and I got her 4 kids, a 2-year-old, 2 5-year-olds, and a 7-year-old. And them kids taught me what I had been looking for all my life. Unconditional love. I just wanted somebody to love me. And those kids love me. And because my grandmother didn't believe me, she wouldn't take me to the doctor. The doctor told my mother, your daughter will never be able to have children. My girlfriend got out of the penitentiary and she came and got her kids. And I was walking around the rooms with a hole in my heart and I didn't know how to feel it. And I kept hearing y'all talk about 12 principles, but I didn't know what they were. If you in here, you knew, and you hear them talking about principles, they're talking about the 12 steps. They're talking about the 12 traditions. They're talking about the 12 concepts. Put them in your life, use them on your job, and use them in your family, and I promise you, your life will change. Anyway, I went back down to the Salvation Army. That was my spot. I went back down to the Salvation Army and I got me a husband this time. I married him. 13-year marriage. He was sleeping with the matron of honor for 7 years. I came in the meeting. I said, my husband is sleeping with my best friend. Y'all told me, we don't care. You better not drink. I said, hold on. When he walked off the porch with her, the sheriff's department walked up on the porch. My house is in foreclosure. They said, we don't care. You better not drink. I said, wait a minute. They're going to turn the lights off. I don't have the money to pay these bills. They said, we'll bring you some candles. You better not drink. And I want to tell the newcomer, there will be an acid test. And when that acid test comes, will you be able to keep emotional sobriety and stay sober through all conditions in your life? My mother died June 17th. And I miss my mom. But I hated her when I got here. Thank you, Alcoholics Anonymous, because y'all gave me a new mom. That woman that I got sick, they told me, Lynette, stop looking at your mom through your eyes. When you look at her through your eyes, you're judgmental, critical, and you got expectations on her she'll never be able to meet. She was the best mom she could ever be to you. Start looking at her through God's eyes. When you look at her through God's eyes, you got love, tolerance, and patience for your mom. I moved that woman in my house and I took care of her for 13 years. I did that because of Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank you, Alcoholics Anonymous. All I know is that I just kept coming to meetings. And the people in the meetings were here for me. And I was angry at that husband. And y'all kept telling me, Lynette, you won't stay sober if you keep this resentment with your ex-husband. And he was, at the time, we were going through a divorce. But I was angry. And I didn't want to drink. So I went over there and bust all 4 of his tires out on his car. He was letting my friend drive my car. And the insurance company paid for the tires. They said it was vandalism. Now, they didn't know it was me. I went over there once a week because I'm a real smart alcoholic, and I bust out 1 tire once a week. And my sponsor said to me, Lynette, do you feel good about busting out them tires? I said, yes. And I'm not drinking. I could be drunk. I'm here to tell y'all I had to pay for those tires. I'm here to tell y'all that best friend who slept with my husband, we all right. I'm here to tell you that I speak to my husband, or my ex-husband, and we all right. I'm here to tell you that those resentments you holding on to, they will kill you. And if they don't kill you, they'll make you very, very sick. And if you be like me, that sickness is in your soul. And it spills out all over your life. And you got to change. And that's what I had to do for me. I had to change. So I went to meetings. I went to meetings because meetings was important. And I told y'all what was going on in my life. And y'all told me, you just keep coming back, young girl. You stay in that seat no matter what. If you in here and you new, stay in your seat, newcomer. That seat you sitting in, people dying for that seat. People are killing for that seat. I know, Akron. They saying, Lynette, why you say that all the time? I'm glad you asked. I say that because people leave meetings and go get drunk, get on the freeway and kill somebody when all they had to do was stay in their seat. I see people leave meetings, go get high, OD, end up on ventilators and die when all you got to do is stay in your seat. And get a home group and show up for your home group. Your home group is important. Those people know when you're going through something. They can look at you and they can see by the way you walking something ain't right with you. There was a lady named Susie. She was always at her home group. I went to Susie's home group. I said, Susie, my lights are off. How do you get the lights on? She said, bring your light bill to my home group, baby, and I'll take you downtown and we'll pay your light bill. And we did. We went downtown. She signed the check, dated the check, put the amount on the light bill on the check, put the check and the light bill in an envelope, put a stamp on it, seal it and mail it. Isn't that how AA works? One step at a time. This woman was brilliant to me, and I believe God sent her to me. I said, Susie, where you get the checks from? She said, come to my home group next Tuesday, baby. I'll take you downtown, and we'll open you up a checking account. I went to her home group that following Tuesday. She took me downtown, and she opened me up a checking account. And Susie taught me how to write checks. And she told me I could use these checks for anything I want. I looked at her. I said, anything? She said, anything. A week later, a box of checks, this thick, came in the mailbox. I started writing checks. I went and got me a colored TV with the remote. The TV I had was black and white. You needed a butter knife to change the channel and a hanger on the back of it for good reception. I went to the butcher. I said, I want the best cut of steak you got. He cut me some filet mignon. I didn't even know they called steak filet mignon. I took it home. I burnt it. It tastes like hockey puck. I don't really care for filet mignon. I got me some potatoes and some corn on the cob and some pork chops. And people always say, Lynette, why are you always talking about food behind the podium? Because I was reduced down to one bag of oodles and noodles a day because all my money went to the liquor store, right? A couple of months later, I'm getting these letters in the mail, and this is a little girl. They passed through high school reading at a third grade level. Today, they would consider me illiterate. I could not read, but you didn't know I couldn't read because I was a chameleon. I knew how to seek to your level. I knew how to look like you. I knew how to act like you. I knew what to do to get whatever I wanted out of you. So as time went on, I got these letters piling up. I took them down to Susie's home group. Why? Because Susie was always at her home group. I said, Susie, I got these letters in the mail, and I don't know what they say. She said, that's okay, baby. We'll read them after the meeting. After the meeting, she started reading the letters. She said, ooh, insufficient funds. Ooh, insufficient funds. Don't write no more checks, baby. Stop writing checks. She said, we got to get you down to the bank. They talking about prosecuting you. I knew what prostituting was, but I didn't know what prosecuting was. We get down to the bank, and I send Susie in there because they're going to prosecute me in there. Susie go in there. She come back out. She say, Lynette, they're going to let you make arrangements to pay back all this money you stole from the bank. I said, they're not going to prosecute me. She said, no, baby. On the way home, Susie said, Lynette, where's your checks from work? I said, they're at home on the table because y'all told me don't go to the liquor store. I didn't know where to cash. She said, that's okay. Susie never made me feel stupid. She never looked down on me. She loved me unconditionally. She said, that's okay, baby. We'll go get those checks. And then Susie taught me how to balance my checkbook. Isn't that how AA works? Balance your life around AA. Don't let the things AA give you take you away from AA. I hear people talking about, I got a boo. I'm staying home with boo. You better leave boo at home and get to a meeting. Because you ain't going to keep boo anyway when you go back out there to drink. We went to my house, my apartment. We got those checks. We took them back downtown, and we cleared up that wreckage. And then Susie told me on the way home, she said, Lynette, if you come to my home group every Tuesday, I'll take you to the library, and I'll teach you how to read. I learned how to read in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah. If you in here and you knew you can have and you can be anything you want to be, just don't get out of that seat. And remember that I told you the doctor told my mother, your daughter will never be able to have children. But somebody dropped their baby off. She was 3 months old. Her name is Kamani. She's 6 years old today. I'm raising that baby. There is a God. This program is spiritual in its nature, and there's some miracles in here for you, provided that you just stay in your seat. If anyone hasn't told you today that they love you, who cares? Who cares? Look around this room. Look at all these faces. Look at all these people. It's obvious that someone loves you. Thank you for letting me share.